sheep. Crazy people, where's that freedom ego when you must need them? You bugging like Beatles and lining up gleeful sticking needles in. 2020 was the year that y'all were losing it. Watching smart people I respect turn into lunatics. The rational became irrational. The avenue we travel through will have a few kickbacks will hassle you. Y'all fools so short-sighted, of course you write it. Shut it down, print money, you should be indicted. What you are doing is criminal. And been a fool, the end of you is gonna be the end of you, and your institute is crooked. Fools claiming I hate the police. Too stupid to understand that they are what they eat. Control freaks that'll use their own homies to seek power and then put them on the wall in a week. This industry is full of followers that holler when it's time to make a dollar, and positions that they wallow in are shallow, and they don't understand half the crap that they are swallowing, regurgitating all of it and acting like a scholar. Wait, this about all the contradiction that I can take. I'd rather you get it now, but truth is you kinda late. Your silliness is limitless, and it would benefit your tendencies if you could just focus a little bit in the roller coaster of emotion that you're going through. Control the pool, I notice you letting it rolling over you. Logic ain't in the conversation, ain't in the realm or reality. Basic as an Applebee's, y'all chattel see that poly pundit, that'll be the sheep.
Is that Eric July? Yes, it is. What's good? Starting soon. Gonna get into the debate. Gonna get into literally swearing in to the cult of wokeness. Nina Turner wanted to know what wokeness is. We found out real quickly from Christopher Rufo and many other stories. Woo. Somebody had a judgment against them, and we'll let the video go a little bit for almost $1 billion, and we might have to mention that on the show. Why not make it $1 trillion? I don't know. We'll get started soon.
Back to the point. Y'all went ape over something with a 99% survival rate. Got the jab and still got a diaper on your face, and that can getting kicked down the road by the state.
This is my joy right here. Eric July, politicking.
Tell me what's worse than learning all that you led to believe was all horse crap. They distort so question as if you Warshak. Horsemen force men, and they've long been having the course mapped. It ain't that you can't see, cause you can find it, Holmes, it's that you don't want to. You cope by putting the blinders on. I've been trying to find some kind of way, but I've kinda known that y'all would rather whine and latch to nonsense cause your mind is gone. I can't save every person, and politicking is bringing the worst out the very earth. And every perk of living on this turf is being chipped at and nerfed, but I can't sit back and lurk. I've got to hit back, I'm certain it's my purpose. And it's a beautiful thing too. Hold up. Hey, looking at the technological advances. I used to be on dial-up looking for answers. Now what? Underappreciating was candid. And 20 years later, we got computers that hand fit. Used to be playing Sega Genesis with bros. Now I'm gaming with some folks on the other side the globe. Used to go through a label if you trying to blow. Now people got more options on the table, got a post. Social media got us connected as ever on every medium. Should be more righteous and clever, but that they don't agree with you, try to ruin your whole life cause you say what they dislike. God forbid y'all disagree without a fight. The type of stuff that will clear up if you lighten up, Jack. Your trifling subject, your life would right if you give up that. You're mad at nothing, not adding up when you're sad enough at a sad second that gets aggravated, and now you pay it forward. Let people make your blood boil, emotions firing like microwave foil, or the oil they annoy you. You add another's neck for the wrong reasons. Election years now seeming like full-blown seasons. Man, you let politics ruin, or rather control, your whole life, man, you're gonna be a miserable person. Straight up. And unfortunately, that's where we're at. A lot of people are consumed by this, and it's driving them crazy, and they hate their neighbors. Sad.
What's good as this beat rides out? Cyrus here, stuck in the middle. Thanks as always for joining. I was thinking back, and this kind of goes with Eric July. He talks about video games, comic books, that I never forget the first time I played Nintendo. This had to have been 84 maybe. I think I don't know the exact. I'm always bad with the years. I'm always off by like 1 or 2 years. About 1980 something. I believe I was in second grade. The memory is just fading, but I remember the exact time. But I remember when we brought it home and hooking it up to the back of the TV, and we didn't have anything but the standard Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt that came with it. It was good times. I love Troy Mafia. What's good? Thank you. Yo. The Nintendo experience. So now my generation is now, we kind of all grown up now. And some, there's, when you grow up, you might have a little bit of money to spend. Not that you have a lot, but you can go to the movies, hopefully. And that's where you see a lot of these ads targeting my age group. The Super Bowl last year, every single ad seemed to be a throwback to like the 90s, the 80s, or whatever, for people in my age group who they want us to take their kids out to see movies and stuff like that. And I thought, why was this fire to me? Let me know if you saw this, or if you didn't know, or if you knew about it, if you saw it. The trailer to this, what is it, a Super Mario Brothers movie? I'd never seen it till I saw it, just online, released a trailer. Tell me this trailer's not fire. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. I think it was beautifully done, especially for a trailer. And there was obviously, we can't even do anything without controversy anymore. There is a controversy with it. Can you believe it or not? With a Mario Brothers cartoon, we do have a controversy with it.
Behold, the king of the Koopas!
Open the gates!
Attack!
That is but a taste of our fury. Do you yield?
I do not. I finally found it. Now who's gonna stop me?
What is this place?
Do not touch that mushroom, you'll die!
Oh, I'm sorry. That one's perfectly fine.
Come on, Mario!
Mushroom Kingdom, here we come!
So tell me that's not dope. Don't tell me that didn't pique your interest. Maybe it's just me going back to the nostalgia of back in the day. But when I saw the trailer, the first thing I remembered is me and my brothers hooking that game up and then starting to play it. And we played the same old Duck Hunt and Mario Brothers over and over and over. And you see where games are now. This stirred up some controversy, though. It really did. If you don't know what that was, it was the official teaser trailer for the Super Mario Brothers movie. And that's the tweet from the official account there. Of course, in our day and time. Now, the good thing is I don't know of any type of woke debate over it. I'm glad that that's not a part of it. It's just Mario Brothers. So I'm hoping that that doesn't rear its ugly head into this. But the voiceover is what caused the concern. Chris Pratt is doing the voice, and maybe it does have to do with a little bit of wokeness in there, like stuff, but not that I see overtly. Chris Pratt did the voiceover for this and did the voiceover for Mario. Everybody, a lot of people who are in this realm with the video games and the nostalgia, even the younger people around my age, they thought the trailer was flawless. They thought the trailer was dope, except for Chris Pratt. Can you believe that? So the part of the trailer that brought people, that kind of got people up in the tizzy was the end of it. It was the end of the trailer. Let me play it where Mario's jumping around. That's the part that people were wondering about. So it's this part where he's jumping on the mushrooms at the end. This is Chris Pratt's voice doing Mario.
What is this?
Yeah, I know. It's real deep stuff. We're debating the voiceover for Mario Brothers. Yes.
Place.
Do not touch that mushroom, you'll die! Oh, I'm sorry. That one's perfectly fine. Come on, Mario!
Mushroom Kingdom, here we come.
And people proceeded, as dope as the trailer was, even if you don't think it was dope, it was really universally liked by all realms that at least I saw. The one thing that everyone agreed on was that Chris Pratt was awful. He's doing the Italian impression. People weren't feeling it.
Hey. Hey, where's the freaking gabagoo? You motherfucker. You motherfucker, huh?
So people were...
Make me get the... Hey, I'm walking here.
So people were posting stuff like that, making fun of his Italian accent. I apologize for the language. I forgot that there was something in that one. But they couldn't let it go. They did not let it go. They said that Chris Pratt sounded like old girl from Bob's Burgers.
Mushroom Kingdom, here we come.
That's how deep it was. They were doing, that was the actual voiceover of Chris Pratt, and somebody did it with I forgot the name of that character in Bob's Burgers. I don't watch the show that much. My wife does. But that's how deep it got. But I'm all for it. I don't even know when it comes out, but I'll go take a look at it. Ollie on Twitter says, why do they get someone who actually sounds like Mario and we get Chris Pratt? What they were referring to is the French version. So if you're wondering, like, why they, what did they want Mario to sound like? I didn't really care, but they wanted Mario to sound more like this.
Royaume champignon, nous voilà!
With that type of tone. It got so heated. Check this out. Like this guy, believe it or not, this guy, like people are more heated about this, and we're gonna get into Fetterman and date JD Vance and stuff later, but they're more heated about this than Pennsylvanians are about Fetterman. Seriously, look, I'm gonna go. I actually didn't post this yet. I should have posted this, but this is from the blog on middlemaga.com. That's my website. Go ahead and visit it. This one is not live yet on the site, but I can show you. I clipped some clips here from R.L. Florence. R.L. Florence said, I'm sure Chris Pratt, excellent sitcom director and the lead actor of the second best Marvel film and the lead voice of one of the best animated comedies ever, will do just fine playing effing Super Mario, you effing nerds. This is passionate, man. People get heated. Everything about it was dope except for this one thing people disagreed on. Look at it. We got F-bombs dropping. You play effing Mario, you effing nerd. Like, dang, like, calm down. They just having fun. RL Florence continues, give it a effing rest for 5 minutes, you effing Poindexter Fs. Jeez. Like, this sounds like Twitter, any text, you don't know if somebody's just kind of playing around or whatever. Does it sound like he playing around? To me, it doesn't. I hope Chris Pratt voices your favorite boy Paddington next, you effing dweebs. And specifically voices him saying, ooh, I think I'll stick my arse-licking furry head into the... Whoa, I don't know. Why are we getting so serious, bruh? RL continues. Go and watch your dog-ish Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, I didn't know this. People love the Sonic the Hedgehog. I like Sonic. I played a lot of Sonic, like the original on Genesis, but it's not as nostalgic. It is for me, but not as like Mario Brothers, because that was the first one I did. So, but everybody who liked it said, okay, it's not going to be Sonic though, or whatever. I guess people like the Sonic. I don't know. We never seen it, but there's a dope song. This has a dope soundtrack. I think it's called Going Fast or something like that. My son found it out on Google Home, and it's a dope song. But you all pretended to enjoy, you effing pencil-necked losers, after complaining it initially looked like Ish, then U-turning when they made Sonic look just like that Turtle Blue loser looks in your wet dreams, hedgehog effers. Wow. You didn't know it. You didn't know how serious this was, did you? People out here not playing games. Let's just say that. People were like, me listening to Chris Pratt's voice come out of Mario's mouth. And there's the tweets that I posted there. Jack Black as Bowser sounded dope, though, didn't he? This person said, you can tell Jack Black put a ton of love and heart into his Bowser voice, while Chris Pratt just spoke. Kind of weird, but the visuals are absolutely effing stellar, and I love the general vibe of the whole thing. I'm excited for this dang Mario movie. So you can say I have a little bit of geek in me. I mean, who's going to be? I think my wife might. I'm going to have to ask her about it. She doesn't know about this movie, but we have a Nintendo 64. I think she said she was going to sell it or something. I was like, just keep it. C3P meme. We got royalty in the chat. We always have royalty, everybody, friend of the show. But y'all, sub up to C3P meme. C3P meme. I just found out about this dude. What he did, I'm going to sidetrack for a second. Or I don't know if it's a he or she even, did this Sanford and Son retake of Trump and Son. It is one of the greatest things I have ever seen on the internet. And then it kind of got me into this meme. I kind of felt like Black Twitter. Like there is no Black to it. There's no tab to open to get into Black Twitter. I'm talking about Mario Brothers. There's no tab to get into the video game people on Twitter. But it's just like who you follow. It's almost like the kind of echo chamber or algorithms. And I kind of fell into the meme stuff. The memesters, they don't get enough credit. The memesters are trying to save the country, in my opinion. Like, that's how deep they are. Now, I'm taking this deep. See, I took Super Mario. People went too deep with it. Maybe I'm taking the memesters too deep. But the way that I kind of talk about the politics and I'll break down some JD Vance stuff, man, nobody really, other than you and I, us political geeks doing this kind of stuff, nobody really caring about that. But you do a funny meme, Donald Trump, and then he worked on it with, I forget who, somebody else. He was giving credit to him or to C3P meme and somebody else, got played at a Trump rally. That's how powerful the memes are. They don't play Marjorie Taylor Greene speeches or they go speak, but they don't replay speeches. They replay stuff that resonates with people. It explains things in concise manners, makes people laugh. The memesters like C3P meme, I am very big on trying to promote them. I don't even care if you're on the establishment side meme. You just make a good meme. And I've retweeted a couple memes that were from the blue side. And I was like, okay, you guys were funny every once in a while. If you're funny, I'll take it over. Thanks for stopping by. School the World, you're never too late. The live doesn't officially start until School the World comes through. Thank you. I'm just talking Mario Brothers, so if you might be interested, you might not be. But I'm peaked on it, and I like it. It's something that we can just, I talked about that with Disney or any of these companies, just, these entertainment companies. And that's why I like the ISOM magazine from Eric July so much. It's just sit down and enjoy a book, man. It's not that deep. I was talking to somebody earlier today. They're going to the Chappelle show today. And they're like, dang, I like Chappelle. And they were almost like, in my impression, like, ooh, I'm a little embarrassed to say I like Chappelle. Not like that, but, just hesitant because he's been a little controversial. And I'm like, damn, we can't laugh anymore. What's happening? Why? How can you exist if we just can't laugh? We're taking stuff too seriously, and that, myself included. I love the memesters. But I did, to finish off the Mario, I did a little remix because the other thing that comes to mind is Cocoa Brothers, which is, I know them as Smith & Wesson, Tech and Steel. They did this song back in the day where they sampled the Super Mario Brother beat. And I just put that song over the beginning, just the first half of the trailer.
ST, what I represent. NY, hold it down for my peeps in the field and do or die. On the record, let it be known. Chrome to seal, and any one of these niggas can blow your grill. Show your skill. You want more? Hold your steel. You want more? Unload text. You all can feel. Raw deal. You all peel. Run for the hills. Run for your shield. The battlefields blasting at will.
Smoke dog, you know my name out. Be the same till the day that I'm laid down. Niggas push me to the points, got a spray round. Take your street like for a game, acting like clowns. Always playing, you ain't busting off, just shooting the breeze. Cause you scared of the repercussion after you squeeze. You ain't been through what I did just to get where I'm at. Streets where I rap and BK where I be at.
Open the gates!
Now it's just a stupid, I just literally put the music underneath the first part of it and then tried to end it where he said, open the gates. But maybe that's a little bit of influence from the C3P meme. I never really dabbled. Well, actually I did that way back in the day, but not recently, not within the last 10 years have I really dabbled with kind of remix type stuff. So those memesters might be rubbing off. I know it's very basic C3P meme. These are high level memesters, like the Trump and Son stuff. Maybe C3P, maybe we could do an interview or something, even if it's just a blog interview, however you want to do it. But I'll reach out if you're interested to how do you do it? Because the only way I know very little video editing. The only way I know is that would take some serious time to do what the Trump and Son stuff. If you don't know, I'm just talking about this stuff like everybody knows about it. I'm trying to spread it and giving a link to it. Let me see if I have something here real quick. Do I have any Trump and Son stuff ready to go? It's on the channel. So go through the channel and see it. School of the World says, getting ready to pick up a pizza. I might watch a movie. Hard to find good movies anymore. Yep, absolutely. I go back to the old school ones. My wife was watching 48 Hours, Beverly Hills Cop. Like those are so... especially Beverly Hills Cop. There's just the charm behind those movies that you don't get as much. There's still some movies that have it, but not as much. But let me go on here. If you go back to the channel, you'll find Trump and Son video by C3P meme. When I go through debates, I was struggling with how to do this because J.D. Vance did so well in the debate. And part of the reason that he did well was because he had some good Yes Queen moments. And I'm not for those. Yes Queen is just moments where the truth doesn't matter. You just got to snap back. Like Lizzo, Kanye, I think he named her. Kanye was talking about people being fat. And to me, he wasn't trying to be disrespectful. He said he wasn't talking about if you're attractive or not or anything like that. He just said it is unhealthy. And basically it's a fact that it's unhealthy. But Lizzo was at a show and did her little clap back and said, my fat black ass is going to mind my own business. So the truth doesn't matter. That's the clapback. That's the, yes, queen, go get her. Go get him, queen, which is fine. Those moments have value. You look at debates, a lot of times people don't actually win on substance. They win on yes, queen. JD Vance won on substance to me and the Yas Queen moments. But instead of the Yas Queen moments were on Twitter. I kind of went through some of his answers. And when I go through a debate, the real substance of a debate, it's really what are you about? I break these debates down into 3 different parts. One is what are you about? That's what I want to focus on just with JD Vance. 2 is you, because I will say it's almost like a first date. You don't show everybody your bad stuff on the first date. It's just doesn't make sense. You put your best foot forward. That's what they do in these debates. So the person you're debating has to bring out that stuff. So if I'm just saying all the good things, then the person I'm debating has to balance telling us what they are about and then also telling us what I'm hiding. So that's part of it. What are you about? Can you pull out what the other person is hiding? And then 3 are the snapbacks, the Yas Queen moments. Just where you can say, ooh, make people laugh or whatever the case may be. I'm not doing any of the laughter ones here. I want to know if you know who JD Vance is, what he's kind of about. I think he did great. I think they both did great. So I'm not going to show Tim Ryan here, but that's not any diss to Tim Ryan at all. Tim Ryan, I don't agree with him, but that's not my point. My point is he did very well in the debate. He highlighted some things that were negative about Vance, and he defended some really bad positions from the Biden position, administration and others, that as well as you could. But let me play some of this here.
Including the infrastructure bill will provide tens of billions of dollars for things in Ohio like clean water, airports, and highways. Do you think some of that money is well spent?
Well, of course, some of the money is well spent, but when we're talking about $6 trillion, there's a lot of money that isn't well spent, and that's fundamentally the problem with what we've seen out of the Biden administration, is simultaneously they've borrowed and spent trillions of dollars that we just don't have, and that's thrown fuel on the fire of the inflation problem, and at the same time, they've completely gone to war against America's energy sector, and you can't do both of those things at the same time. They're each bad ideas, but when you do both of them at the same time, you're going to get record inflation, which is exactly what you expect to get. Now, on the
That was his inflation answer. So he is on point with me on inflation. And it's the first thing they brought up. I want to hear economy it's Ohio. I'm from Ohio, but I don't live in Ohio. But the economy, not just Ohio, but the economy is the number one thing. It's not, actually, they said the number 2, believe it or not, was abortion, which I was really shocked to see that it was the number 2 issue you're worried about right now is abortion. Okay. But that's what they said in Ohio. It's a poll, so whatever. But the first question's got to be the economy. For me, my number 1 issue is the economy, Federal Reserve, but it's really close with free speech. But that's the answer. That's his answer on it. Tim Ryan was very bad on that. He actually brought up state, lowering taxes. I'm all for lowering taxes. Do not get me wrong. I'm all for lowering taxes, but lowering taxes is not an answer to inflation. I don't know where that came from. I don't know what that's about. That's not, so they're looking at inflation. They're looking at the definition, really talking about price increases. And for me, I look at inflation more like JD Vance was talking about. You are increasing money in circulation. You're spending money, creating money. So with the position that Tim Ryan has about lowering taxes, that puts more money in people's pockets, that sounds great. I'm fine with that. But just don't tell me that stops inflation. That's a very, very big red flag for anyone to consider that or to try to sell me that. I think that Tim Ryan is disingenuous, but maybe he's ignorant on it. I don't know. You could probably make an economic case for anything. I don't see it for that, because you lower it, then you give more people money, then that only would increase demand for goods. Period. What they're actually looking at, what JD Vance, probably didn't want to scare people, or, you only have so much time to get into things. I think he's fully aware of this, is they're trying to get people. No, I don't want to phrase it like that. Removing people from the workplace. It is what it is. The way they never say it like that because it's savage. There's going to be layoffs, and it's going to be some really bad stuff. This is going to be worse than 2008 to me. You've got to get people out of the workforce so they don't have money to spend, and that release that will kind of ease up the pressure while they increase interest rates. Well, what does that mean? Yeah, you're going to have homelessness, people evicted, energy. Forget about even Russia, Ukraine. Even without that, we're going to have problems. That on top of it is bananas. I don't think we've even seen the higher prices on bread and stuff that will be coming until the next harvest. I'm not a farmer, but the next farming season or harvest. So we're going to see devastation to correct this stuff. And if this is important, it's not exciting. It's not going to get you trending, but that's the number one thing right now is inflation. And there's no easy way out of this. But what we need are people in DC who, at least in the debate, who knows if JD Vance is being honest. I'm not claiming to know these people. I'm just going by what he's saying. He's saying the right things right now. That's all I got to work on. Anything else is just in your head, unless you've got proof of another position. He's saying the right things. Tim Ryan is not. Do you know how bad it is to be saying lowering taxes, and the reason why you're doing it? I'm all for it. But the reason why you're doing it is to fight inflation? That's asinine. And in his words, inflation is higher prices. How does lowering taxes on people lower prices? It doesn't. Here's a clip of what Tim Ryan said. I didn't even plan on doing this part of it, but.
Think President Biden is to blame for the inflation crisis?
Well, I think everybody's to blame. What I've been proposing is a significant tax cut for working people and small businesses. Put money in people's pockets. We can sit here and argue about why it's here. It's a global phenomenon right now. We need to cut taxes for working people.
So it sounds good. That's why I think it's disingenuous to say that, to hear, and a person who doesn't understand economics might say, oh, that sounds great. And Tim Ryan, there's no reason for me to think Tim Ryan is a dumb person. Katie Maria says it. Tim Ryan is a clown. He's a career politician, very polished, very smart, very smooth in the way he maneuvers. He's been in DC as a congressperson and all the way up to, he's been in there for 20-something years. So he knows how to survive. This is his biggest challenge, though, this whole time, is a populist movement. That's why this whole debate, he tried to make JD Vance look like an extremist. So School the World, I'll be on until 6 p.m. Mountain. So that's 8 Eastern, 7 Pacific, and 5 Pacific and 7 Central. The next part of the clip, let me go back to the debate. Whoop. Let me get back to the debate.
Lindsey Graham bill. My view on this is, generally speaking, Ohio's going to want to have different abortion laws than California, than Texas.
So this is the topic of abortion, and it's not a big topic for me, but here's JD. It was the second one. They said it was the second pressing issue for Ohioans. I have no idea what's going on if abortion is your number 2 issue, but to each his own. And here's his take on it.
Exactly what you expect to get. Now, on the Lindsey Graham bill, my view on this is, generally speaking, Ohio's going to want to have different abortion laws than California, than Texas, and I think Ohio should have that right. But some minimum national standard is totally fine with me. We're talking about 5-month-old babies, fully formed babies who can feel pain. No civilized country in the world allows elective abortion that late in pregnancy. I don't think the United States should be an exception. I
have no problem with that take. For me, it should be just completely up to the states. And that's the take, J.D. Vance. So he's, to me, 2 for 2. I'm with him. I don't want any federal action on abortion, but his stance was not crazy. That's not a radical stance. So I'm liking what I'm hearing so far.
3 kids, and I'm running to be the United States Senator for the state of Ohio. I want to protect those children, and I want a foreign policy establishment that puts the interests of our citizens first. What everybody has been doing, and I've been at the very forefront of this, saying we need to de-escalate the situation. Vladimir Putin launching nuclear weapons against Ukraine is something we have to do everything possible to prevent. Taiwan.
So that's who's the anti-war position. Now, his position here on Taiwan is a little bit different. I've actually flipped my position on Taiwan. I've actually changed. Breaking news. I will be known to flip. That to me, I just reassess. I am not married to a political party. That's why I like being free. I'm not married to Trump. I'm not married to Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm not married to your local congressperson. I'm not married to this business. I can flip and do whatever based on reassessing I'm not married to my positions. If I got a better one, I can switch. But on the Ukraine-Russia situation, he's anti-intervention. He's basically, what he's saying is, I haven't heard a convincing argument for why we should be there. So he changes, though, on Taiwan. He's a little bit different on Taiwan.
It's a much different situation from Russia and Ukraine because of how important it is to American national security. Now, the policy of this country, bipartisan, by the way, over 40 years, was strategic ambiguity. The idea is that we wouldn't commit to doing one thing or the other, but everybody recognized that we would try to do something, maybe not send military troops in a ground war, but we would do something to try to defend Taiwan. The thing we need to do is get ourselves in a position where we don't have to rely on the Chinese and the Taiwanese in the first place. The reason why Taiwan is different is because they make so many of our semiconductors, our computer chips. The entire modern economy would collapse without it. We got to bring that stuff back to this country. Rob Portman, Tim mentioned earlier, senator, of course, of our state, a guy who endorsed me and was critical in getting the CHIPS bill passed. That's the sort of policy you need to break our reliance on China. It's a great piece of legislation. We just got to go much further so we don't have to defend island countries if it's not in our core national interest.
Okay, breaking news. I flipped on this. This is Taiwan. I've been saying the whole time on this channel that Taiwan's different. I've been saying, and just like J.D. Vance said, it's a different situation because if China gets control of Taiwan, then we are basically beholden to them. All these different devices and stuff we've got here, I got mics and all this stuff, a lot of this stuff's made through chips, even refrigerators, stoves and stuff now, much less cars, through chips made in Taiwan. So that's not the case in Ukraine. We're not protecting chips or our economy falling apart. But I've changed my position. I am not for any type of intervention, proxy or not, in Taiwan. We have plenty of time now. We know the vulnerabilities. On its face, I haven't read the CHIPS Act, so I'm not going to support it, but I like the idea of it. I'm not for government spending, but if you are going to reward companies to keep jobs, if that's really what the bill does, who knows what these bills do anymore. So, but the concept, the title of the bill, I do support the concept of rewarding companies to do. The concern is nothing's perfect. The concern is you're giving money to these woke companies to stay woke, basically, and it's not introducing competition into the marketplace. So that's what I would have to study in reading that bill. But the general idea, not talking about the bill, the general idea of trying to do whatever we can to get this stuff up and running in the U.S., that is Make America Great Again. That's the concept. So you're not beholden on a random small island right off the coast of China. I know that you've got the Strait there, which controls a lot of power and goods, but we got enough here to be okay. We should be able to handle all that other stuff with diplomacy. I'm tired of diplomacy failing And then people saying, well, no, we've got to go do this now. No, now's the time to defend, to stop it from happening. Now's the time to figure it out, make America great again, bring jobs back, have companies make their chips here. I don't care if they cost more. That's a national security issue. And J.D. Vance is, I think we're pretty close on that. So three for three. Inflation, abortion, intervention. He's pretty solid to me.
Equality Ohio says there are more than 500,000 LGBTQ plus citizens living here. Outgoing Senator Rob Portman is.
So I don't like the topics here. So we went from the economy to abortion. And then, so we talked about intervention. That's a national thing. That's still, to me, this is an Ohio debate. These debates are not localized at all. And then now we're going to LGBT discussion. Like these are the most pressing issues.
Co-sponsoring the Marriage Equality Act that will codify same-sex marriage. Are you ready to support that bill? Why or why not?
Mr. Vance, we start with you.
Yeah, so I've come out against this bill, and I don't think it's actually about gay marriage. It's not about same-sex marriage or same-sex equality. Look, gay marriage is the law of the land in this country, and I'm not trying to do anything to change that. But if you look at the specific bill that's being proposed, it wouldn't just codify something that's already enacted in law. It would actually make it easier for both the government and a lot of private parties to sue religious organizations if those religious organizations don't comply with the dictates of the federal government. I'm a devout Christian. And I think it's important to protect religious liberty in this country. We remember about 10 years ago when the Obama administration, I'm sure supported by Tim Ryan, went after a group of Catholic nuns because that Catholic nunnery wanted to run its organization the way that confirmed with its religious beliefs. That should be okay in this country. And the problem with this legislation is it's going to unleash a wave of litigation against our churches, our religious organizations, our mosques, our synagogues, everything. That's why I don't think it's a great idea.
I have not read the bill, but he stated his case very well there. It's already the law of the land. I'm not trying to change that. It would be difficult for me. I'm not obviously running at that level or running at all, but I believe everything should be left up to the state. And what that would do is allow someone disingenuous like Tim Ryan to say, oh, he's not for interracial marriage. Oh, he's for slavery. Oh, he's for banning LGBTQ marriages or whatever. No, that wouldn't be my position. Well, my position would be it's up to the state. And I don't think any state would take that position, but it's on them. Wouldn't you want it? So how are we going to keep this together if you allowed every state to leave to make these decisions? And one state would say, oh, we're going to legalize slavery. Do you think that we should have been in the union to begin with? Let's see. Let's show your cards if that's where you're at. I don't think that's where anybody's at. But I don't fear that. They would be ostracized. They wouldn't even really, they would have to leave the union pretty much. I want the whole union broken down, but that's a fantasy world. But his take, I have no problem with it. He actually shows that I can't verify it because I didn't read that bill, that at least he dug into the bill to comment on it. And if you watch this debate, Tim Ryan never said he was wrong. Tim Ryan, I don't think I clipped it here. Tim Ryan even said, believe this or not. I should have clipped it. If it's not, it should be right here. If I didn't, I don't know if I have it. Tim Ryan says only J.D. Vance believes that the Marriage Equality Act wasn't about marriage equality. So Tim Ryan literally said the bill has to be about this because we titled the bill that. Just like the Inflation Reduction Act. So the Inflation Reduction Act is actually reducing inflation because of the title. He literally said that, Tim Ryan.
Equality, as the congressman mentioned, could be revisited by the Supreme Court. Will that be a litmus test for you if you are in the position of evaluating a Supreme Court nominee? And we begin with you, Mr. Vance.
So the litmus test here, they were talking about, I believe it was still the LGBTQ marriage stuff. Like, is this going to be a litmus test for your Supreme Court justice? For me, yes. We'll hear his answer in a second. For me, yeah, everything they say is a litmus test.
I don't like any litmus test for any Supreme Court nominations. I just want good judges who interpret the Constitution. That's what I really want.
System as well on your website, but you say we should only allow immigrants in if they contribute.
So that's the end of that clip there. But so I disagree with him on that a little bit, but that's not a big deal. Very little bit, because that's what I'm about. Is, are you for the Constitution or not? This is on immigration.
You quote, something meaningful to our country. How would you define what is meaningful? Can you give specifics?
Well, I think skills and ability to learn or already know the English language, that's all very important. I'm a big fan of what Tom Cotton has proposed called the RAISE Act. But look, I mean...
Quote, there are legitimate concerns that a lot of black...
So that was the brief spot there. He was going to go and attack Tim Ryan. I didn't put any attacks in this clip here. And that's where he is on immigration. So basically, it's the same stance I have. Legal immigration is fine. I don't know why we even need to say that.
Americans have, that they're not treated fairly by some members of the police. It has been 5 years since you said that. Is that still your position today?
Well, of course, Colleen. I mean, look, I've talked to a number of police officers, and, you know, one of the interesting things I've heard from our police officers, and of course I've been endorsed by the statewide Fraternal Order of Police, because during the rioting a couple of years ago, Tim Ryan threw these guys under the bus, and I didn't. But one of the things I hear from them is that they want to do more community policing. They actually want to do more engagement, whether it's black, white, or brown, with people in the community that they're actually trying to keep safe. The problem is it's really hard to do that when you're 25%, 30% understaffed. So we got to increase funding for law enforcement. We've got to protect law enforcement.
Question is the biggest threat to democracy.
Sure.
If you would like to answer that first.
We have great elections in the...
So that was the policing question. No problem with that. Pretty simple. I'm not... it's hard for me to say, am I for funding for the police? It's got to make sense. I'm definitely not for defunding. I'm worried about funding anybody. You start funding people, that's when they start wasting money. So there has to be some type of checks and balances there with the funding. Like records of, if you're going to fund for them to do more community outreach or whatever else, which I'm 100% for, they have to be more integrated with the community, then somehow I need to see proof that it's happening and it's working. One of the things it really bothers me here is if I at work go to my boss and say, I need a budget for something. Well, what they say is, okay, what do you need the budget for? Same as somebody coming to your house and doing work or something like that. What, you're going to charge me $20,000 to do work on my crib or something like that? What are you doing for that work? What is the outcome of that work? We throw this money out to the police or whoever else, and I don't know, what is it for? How do we know that it's for what it's for? How do we know that it works? Did the Inflation Reduction Act? What are the bars of things? What should we see to know that it worked or it didn't work? If you can't answer that question, it should not be funded. But DC is the only place that does that. And also, I'm going to get to Fetterman in a second. The only place where you could get someone like Fetterman working.
State of Ohio, and I encourage everybody, even if you're going to vote for this guy, to get out there and vote by November the 8th. But here's the thing. We know, because Facebook has told us, that leadership of the FBI approached Facebook and told them to censor information that was negative about Joe Biden, about Hunter Biden's corrupt business dealings. You cannot have a multinational corporation that's in bed with the communist Chinese that's censoring information about one of America's political parties and doing it in a way that interferes with people's knowledge and ultimately people's votes. That's a threat to democracy. Big tech has way too much power, and it benefits the Democrats.
Thank you.
I mean, is there anything?
So that was, what's the biggest threat to democracy? And I agree. First Amendment is basically what he was going through with big tech and what they did there with the laptop from hell. Yes, the First Amendment. That's why it's the First Amendment. He was also talking about the First Amendment with the Marriage Equality Act. That has to be intact.
He's done that's concerned me. Why don't we let the criminal investigations actually play out? Because I was alive.
So this was on Trump, and his answers measured here, I think, because he doesn't want, Tim Ryan's trying to paint him as extreme. He doesn't want to seem as extreme.
the communist Chinese that's censoring information about one of America's political parties and doing it in a way that interferes with people's knowledge and ultimately people's votes. That's a threat to democracy. Big tech has way too much power and it benefits the Democrats.
Thank you.
Now here's the Trump answer.
I mean, is there anything he's done that's concerned me? Why don't we let the criminal investigations actually play out? Because I was alive during 2016 to 2020, and what I saw was consistently rumors that finally Donald Trump was going to be indicted, that he was going to be accused of something legitimately criminal. Of course, Tim Ryan, despite his commercials, voted to impeach him twice. I have seen nothing that would suggest that President...
I like that he put that in there. Voted to impeach Trump twice. Those aren't good votes on Tim Ryan. Now I wanted to keep this about what J.D. Vance was about, but he snuck that in on me.
The United States should be thrown in prison. And most importantly here, if you're going to make accusations like this, the Attorney General of the United States, Merrick Garland, one of the most political actors in the history of American justice, if you want to go after a former president, a possible future president, or at least a future political candidate, you've got to tell the American people why. We have really corrupt leadership at the Department of Justice, and that's a problem.
Congressman Ryan, in a nationwide address, President Biden called the MAGA Republicans the threat to American democracy.
So I think I'll end it there. I'm not going to go into Tim Ryan. So I just wanted to highlight why I like J.D. Vance. Those are good positions. I will give J.D. Vance feedback. All those positions are national and very generic. He didn't have any position that I can recall in the whole debate that was specific to Ohio. Now he's representing Ohio and the country, and when you look at the Senate race, you're going to talk about larger base national kind of type of issues. But it's not like it's a when you're going to Congress, you're representing a district, so you really got to be narrowed in. But it still wasn't enough to me. You got to come across as I know Ohio. To me, that's my biggest piece of feedback before him. Other than that, it's good. Like I said, I trust no one, so I don't know how he's going to vote. We won't know until he votes. And he might be. Tim Ryan came at J.D. Vance on his investment in this company that outsourced work to China for clothing. So J.D. Vance puts money into this venture capital firm. I forget the name of it, and it's not a lot of money. It's like from a couple thousand to 13, 14,000, which, depending on where you're at, it can be a lot of money, but just to them, that's not a lot of money. And they make their clothing line is what I got from it in China. So Tim Ryan was coming hard at that for him and at him with that. And my take is J.D. Vance never really addressed it because it's true. He said, I'm not aware of it, which means he is to me. But that's not a make or break type of thing for me. It is a contradiction because he's trying to bring jobs back here, but it's not like it's his company. He's investing in a venture capital firm that invested in that. And, it's very hard to do stuff in the United States right now. So for me, I'm actually voting, if I were in Ohio, for J.D. Vance because I think he would prioritize that if he wants to keep his MAGA cred. That's why I'm like, I don't mind where these guys are. If MAGA controls him, I don't care if he's a Silicon Valley venture capitalist. It doesn't matter. It couldn't care less. As long as, to keep his MAGA card, he's got to do populist things. That's all that matters to me. Let me know what you think. John Fetterman is... The situation is worse than I thought. The situation with John Fetterman is not good, y'all. It's not only is it not good, it's really, really bad. Like really, really, really bad. And he did an interview last night where, in my opinion, they're trying to soften the blow. If he wins, then they can say, we told you that he was messed up. That's what's happening with Fetterman. Let me go do some clips on my other channel. I sat through this whole interview because I was going to sit through it anyway. I'm like, well, why don't I live stream it? Here's what this was shocking for me. And you know, if you've watched the channel, I've been doing clips on him and talking about him, like his neck and all that kind of stuff. It's worse than it's
Lester,
way
because
worse.
of his
way worse than I thought.
Lester, because of his stroke, Veterans Campaign required closed captioning technology for this interview to essentially read our questions as we ask them. And Lester, in small talk before the interview, without captioning, it wasn't clear he was understanding our conversation. Lester, because of his stroke, Veterans Campaign required closed captioning technology for this interview to essentially...
I want to hear that one more time. This is somebody running for Senate right now. This is on network television. You said...
Read our questions as we ask them. And Lester, in small talk...
Wait, what did you say again? Come again?
Before the interview, without captioning, it wasn't clear he was understanding our conversation.
No. So some people online... The straw man arguments are getting tired. They said, well, he's deaf. Does it sound like she said he's deaf? She said he didn't understand me. Not that he couldn't hear me. He couldn't understand. That means he couldn't compute what I was saying in small talk.
Understanding our conversation.
This was small talk, she's saying.
And Lester, in small talk...
She almost kind of be like, and Lester... I got to tell you, it was worse than we thought.
Small talk before the interview.
No, I want to hear her say, Lester?
And Lester in...
and Lester?
As we ask them. And Lester, in small talk before the interview, without captioning, it wasn't clear he was understanding our conversation. Lester...
What did you say, my nickel? He didn't understand your conversation in small talk. Well, why hasn't he dropped out of the race? The joke was Biden was in his basement, and obviously he was even better back then, but his brain was gone still. It's not satire anymore. It's literally a weekend at Bernie's. They're literally dragging his big ass around, and he doesn't know what's happening. Literally, not exaggerating, not Babylon B. He doesn't know what's happening. This isn't funny. I wish him the best of health. I'm not making him run for Senate. I didn't do that. If you don't want me to talk about you, go be a private citizen. Don't talk about politics. I'm out here so you can clown me or whatever. Now, it's, obviously they don't have a big platform. He's running for Senate. It is a problem, and it will be talked about. And it is not some type of evil thing or anything like that. The take is, just so people don't understand what the take is go home and drop out. That's the take. And you do that, and I forget about who you were. Maybe a decade from now, I'll laugh like, oh, what was the name of that guy? That guy who had that big thing on his neck, and he couldn't understand the reporter like a month before the election. What was his name again? Oh, it was Fetter or something like that. Yeah, remember the guy who chased the black jogger down the street with a shotgun? Damn, I forgot his name. He was the mayor of Braddock, and it was like 2,000 people, and he was boisterous about how he stopped crime in a city that's smaller than my high school. Damn, I forgot that name. Remember, man, life was crazy back then. The nickel couldn't even talk, and he was running for Senate. Man, that stuff, man, 2022 was crazy, yo. That's what we're going to be talking about a decade from now. This is unbelievable.
But the voters aren't doctors, right? I mean, look, you have styled yourself as the no bullshit candidate, right? It's why a lot of people are drawn to you. Sometimes that's easy, and sometimes, like in moments like this, that gets tested. So why not follow through on that and be fully transparent and release all of that information?
No, and I said I am putting everything tested. I am being out, and
you're doing what? Guys, if you don't know, that big ass screen that's in the way here of him, that big ass screen is how he is ingesting her words. It's not that he's deaf. He doesn't understand. He's not right up here. That's sad. But that ain't my that ain't, if you're going to put your selfishness above what's right, and the people of Pennsylvania, you're going to have to speak up. And this is the story for the election. If this person who School the World is called Fester, and School the World from now on it's Festerman. If Festerman wins, I don't know if I'm going to be able to talk about the red wave and the tsunami. I'm going to have to talk about Pennsylvania. We're going to have to dig into what is happening in Pennsylvania if this man wins. And I'm not telling you to vote for Oz. I don't I was looking up the Libertarian candidate, C3P meme. If you happen to see this, go meme and do something on the Libertarian candidate. I'm not for Oz or, whatever you think, but obviously this isn't the right choice. How could you vote somebody? They would literally vote somebody in a coma on their deathbed. Literally. What they would do it. And why are they afraid of Oz? Dr. Oz is the type, damn it, I wouldn't be surprised if he was a Liz Cheney Republican, basically. At best, he's a Mitt Romney Republican. Y'all don't hate Mitt Romney. Y'all love Mitt Romney at this point. He's like a more feckless version of Mitt Romney. So I don't know why Democrats aren't voting for him. I really don't. Maybe they think that Festerman can be, we're seeing right now the first literal puppet to ever be in, like, there's puppets in DC now, but we don't see their strings, like literally. That computer screen right there, how do I know someone else isn't typing the answers for him? I don't know that. Unless when he speaks, I'm going to need a picture-in-picture of what's on the screen. So in this interview, they showed what's on the screen to show that it's going just like Google or any other service, Otter, do voice to text. So, and then when she's talking, we're seeing the text, and you know how they don't get all the text right. So that's what he's talking about. He's like, he can't say, Google, could you repeat the question? Google thought that pants was patience or whatever. He can't, that's just too awkward. So he could say that, but you have to edit it out. That's the string. He's the puppet, literally. He doesn't understand. And the string is this monitor now. So it will be interesting to see if he does, because in the debate, unless Dr. Oz is in on it, which I don't think so, he can't get answers to his questions on the monitor. He's going to need this monitor. I don't think he's going to do the debate. If he doesn't do the debate, then I am full-blown making accusations that I want him to prove me wrong. So whenever you speak, do a picture-in-picture of the monitor so we know no one else is giving you the answers. Or the answers could have been prefab. They could have said, we already know the standard questions, or they might even have got the questions. Who knows? We've heard that before. And they might have got the answers and just put the cue cards on there. This is the puppet string right here, making a mockery of our whole process.
Being tested day in and day out. And, if my doctor teams already said that I'm fine and I'm ready to go on that, then I'm not really sure that's much more beyond training.
His answer is just all over the place.
You have styled yourself as the no bullshit candidate, right? It's why a lot of people are drawn to you. Sometimes that's easy, and sometimes, like in moments like this, that gets tested. So why not follow through on that and be fully transparent and release?
Are bell bottoms back in style? Those aren't flares. Those look like bell bottoms because they're not tight up here. I'm off track, but that's a old school. The whole get up there is old school. Maybe that's new. So you see the MacBook. Here's the pause, and you see at the bottom here are the words that she said. He can't. We have somebody. What I'm laughing at is not him and his health. I wish him the best of health. What I'm laughing at is this is the democracy that you want to save? Maybe it's not. I'm starting to think Michael Malice had a point. Maybe it's not worth saving. Maybe we're at that. This might be the tipping point for me. This might be the tipping point. Even if he doesn't win, this might be the point where I'm like, I'm completely out. Because I've been kind of like, I want the federal government decentralized, kind of like in a cute way. It's still obviously peaceful and through the process, but I haven't been like forceful with it, in my opinion. Like Michael Malice and Eric July types would be like, this whole thing needs to be brought down. Like, they're more forceful than me. This might be the moment. This is like, we shouldn't be voting. If this is okay, I can't share with you. I cannot share. If it's okay, you, Pennsylvania, you got to be your own country. This is the tipping point for me. I'm looking at a screen of a dude who can't understand simple issues, much less complex issues in DC. Who are we sending to DC? To do what? What is he going to do in DC? What is his purpose? I wouldn't hire him to drop fries at McDonald's. Not that that's a bad job. I've dropped fries at McDonald's. My point is, there is no job that I would hire him for. There's no job he could get other than to be a professional con man. It's almost even beyond whether they vote for him or not. If he doesn't drop out, if he doesn't have to drop out of the race, I think that's not a red pill. That's like taking all the red pills in the world and making a punch out of it, like a fruit punch, and I'm just downing it, guzzling it. That means it's over. I'm done. I'm out. Like I don't, and it's not even his fault. It's not even his fault. I'm not happy with him. I don't respect what he's doing. And from the aspect of, I have no empathy from the aspect of still running for Senate. And he's the active lieutenant governor, by the way. I have no sympathy, no empathy at all. Because him and his people could do what's best for this country. Same with Joe Biden. There's a lot of people who are suffering with mental stuff, especially as you get older. It's tough to see, don't want to see that. But if you are going to suffer through that and get propped up as president or propped up as senator, no empathy. That you're making a decision to say, I can serve this country. No, you can't. Go sit your ass down. This is the tipping point. Just freeze framing this video at this point.
Why not follow?
Freeze framing the video on that screen with him looking at a screen. That just triggered me. I'm not going to lie. I'm triggered now. And I'm triggered in Pennsylvania. Someone with Oprah, or I don't care. Get somebody else. He's done. Someone with his wife, or I don't care. It's over. I'm not sharing a country with you if you don't force that bra out. It has nothing to do with Dr. Oz. I'm not promoting Dr. Oz. I don't like Dr. Oz. I clown Dr. Oz. He's not a populist. He's not MAGA. So don't think that that's that. Don't straw man and go there. I'm talking about Fetterman. I can't do it anymore. It has to stop. You got to kick him out of that race, or we got to end this whole thing. Your values don't line up with mine. This is not the democracy that we're saving. So it was funny in the other clip, they were talking about what's the biggest threat to democracy. I don't know. A bro running for Senate that can't understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. I don't have the Chris Tucker clip ready. That's you want to know what the greatest threat to our democracy? I know, Representative Republic, whatever. These words don't mean anything anymore. The threat to whatever we have going on, whatever this relationship is, the biggest threat to that is this right here.
It's tested. So why not follow through on that and be fully transparent and release all of that information?
No, and I said, I am putting everything tested. I am being...
I am putting everything tested. That's a quote.
Being out and being tested day in and day. I am being out and being.
I am being out. It's not even making any sense. This is edited. This is not a live interview. It's not making any sense. There was one part of the interview that was so awkward. She was asking, I don't have the clip here, but she was asking if, I'm just going to stop this. I might play the supercut. But she was asking him if there were any other issues that you hadn't told us. It was super cringe. It was super awkward. She was like, is there any other issue, any other health issue that you haven't told us about that maybe you should like expound on? And it was so awkward because the whole time I'm like his neck? Like you mean like why he's wearing a sweatshirt with a hoodie to cover the back of his to cover his neck? Like maybe that? I don't know. They had the Babylon Bee is not, they just need to go out of business. The Babylon Bee needs to go defunct. And I'm sorry, I love the Babylon Bee. Please don't get me wrong. They're great. The Babylon Bee is awesome. Please don't get me wrong. I think they just need to retire. What do we need them for anymore? At some point when the satire has to get so wild, it's not worth anything anymore. Remember when they said the clips of Dr. Oz were doctored and taken out of context to make him look bad? It went from they're doctored and taken out of context to make him look bad to he has a issue and he says he's going to get better in January. Well, it better get better in January because here's where we are now is with this stuff here.
The Eagles are so much better than the Eagles.
At first, I just wanted to check in and see how you're feeling and how you're doing.
I'm doing fantastic, and it's not about kicking balls in the authority or anything. And make sure you take advantage of this amazing opportunity to. The only thing you have, Stan, to lose is your record. What is wrong with demanding for an easy, safe kind of their income, a path to a safe place for them to win? And I can champion the union way of life in DC. If you come out and step with us, we will be able to stand with you in DC.
Oh, my Lord. And that's not even all of them. Let me know what you think. Maybe I'm overreacting. I don't know. I honestly don't even know what to say anymore. I said earlier, it's the Truman Show. That's what it is. It's literally the Truman Show. Everyone's playing a joke. I think everybody in the chat, are you in on the joke? The joke has to be on me. It just has to be. There's no other explanation for it. Nobody else is saying anything about this. Like it's just normal. The joke's on me. You guys can, everybody in the chat, you guys can tell me, just say it's over and people can come out from behind the curtains or whatever and just say, hi, we got you. We know you almost had a heart attack, but we got you right before you wanted to end all the process that we have. We got you. It was a joke. We're only kidding. When we say that this thing is a cult, we mean it's a cult. That's not a joke. That's not a thing just to throw around and say. There is no debate against this thing being a cult. No debate at all. I don't want debate. I'm not arguing over it. Because what's happening here is cult-like behavior. Via Christopher Rufo, I haven't seen the update today. I just saw this from yesterday. This is a University of Michigan. Sorry. My apologies, University of Michigan. Let me stop festering my comments. University of Minnesota medical students swear an oath to honor all indigenous ways of healing that have been historically marginalized by Western medicine, and to fight, wait for it, in the oath that they took. They took an oath. These are the medical students, to fight white supremacy, colonialism, and gender binary. They are being inducted into the cult of critical theory of race and gender. And Nina Turner, and Nina, are you watching? You asked the other day what woke was. Here it is.
With gratitude, we, the students of the University of Minnesota Twin Cities Medical School class of 2026, stand here today among our friends, families, peers, mentors, and communities who have supported us in reaching this milestone. Our institution is located on Dakota land. Today, many Indigenous people throughout the state, including Dakota and Ojibwe, call the Twin Cities home. We also recognize this acknowledgement is not enough. We commit to uprooting the legacy and perpetuation of structural violence deeply embedded within the healthcare system. We recognize inequities built by past and present traumas rooted in white supremacy, colonialism, the gender binary, ableism, and all forms of oppression. As we enter this profession with opportunity for growth, we commit to promoting a culture of anti-racism, listening, and amplifying voices for positive change. We pledge to honor all Indigenous ways of healing that have been historically marginalized by Western medicine. Knowing that health is intimately connected to our environment, we commit to healing our planet and communities. We vow to embrace our role as community members and strive to embody cultural humility. We promise to continue restoring trust in the medical system and fulfilling our responsibilities as educators and advocates. We commit to collaborating with social, political, and additional systems to advance health equity. We will learn from the scientific innovations made before us and pledge to advance and share this knowledge with peers and neighbors. We recognize the importance of being in community with and advocating for those we serve.
A quote from it, if it was hard to pick up. We recognize in this oath you're pledging allegiance. I don't know what it is. That I would have to talk to them to understand what this is. We recognize inequities built by past and present traumas rooted in white supremacy, colonialism, and the gender binary, ableism, in all forms of oppression. This is an oath that they had to take. I don't know if I don't know if they were forced to take it or not. I don't know what's going on here. Christopher Rufo said the most incredible thing about this clip is that the doctor almost certainly doesn't believe in what he's saying. No, none of them do. I think that is different than a cult, because I think some of them might believe it. But I have to think about what that really means. Because I don't believe that if you were to poll everybody in that room, I think more than 50% don't believe it. I would guess. What do y'all think? If you polled everybody there, are they? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think they all believe it. I think they do it because they have to. That's the whole point of it. In the thread, I keep referencing Nina Turner. Nina Turner the other day said, "Conservatives tell me what." I don't consider myself a conservative, but whatever. Conservatives tell me what woke means. And that's the definition right there, Nina. But in that conversation, I was telling people, somebody said, well, you don't think Biden is woke, do you? And I was like, no, I don't. He's just playing the game. And this is good to think through. What does that mean if, just hypothetically, if they don't really believe it and they're doing it? is that still a cult? That to me, I wouldn't call them hostages. I have to think through that. I don't have enough, philosophical knowledge to know what that's why I like guys like Tim Pool. They know all the stuff and James Lindsay. What do you call it? And I'm sure maybe people in the chat, what do you call it if, let's just hypothetically, let's say everybody who did that chant, that religious chant we just saw to the church of wokeness, the church of weird critical theory, say none of them believe it. They just feel like they have to do it to not be ostracized. What is that called? Is that still called a cult? Maybe it still is a cult. I don't know. But to my thought of a cult is people who are brainwashed and they do believe it. I don't think none of them believe. Well, let's just hypothetically say none of them believe it. I'll check the comments in a second here. But the doctor submits anyway because the institutional powers now require otherwise intelligent people to falsify their own beliefs and repeat the left-wing copy-paste. So what is that called?
With gratitude,
I'm going to look in the chat and see.
We, the students of the university.
Look at the chat and see if anybody, what is that called? A lot of people in Germany probably didn't believe. Yep, I agree. Woke is brainwashed. So people think they are brainwashed. Katie Maria says white progressives are some of the most racist people I've ever seen. Yep, they try to hide it behind anti-racist propaganda is powerful, man. Fear. Okay. Yeah, it's fear. It's force. The last says fear. They fear it. This is how Marxism takes over. It's fear. It's force. It is force. It's called cowardice. Wow. Yeah. All good comments there. Well, let me know what you think. That is to me, it feels like an escalation. I don't remember ever seeing that before. But yeah, Russian collusion. Why is that trending? Getting sidetracked on Twitter. But let me know what you think. The FBI offered Christopher Steele, this is reportedly here, $1 million to corroborate Trump's allegations in the dossier. This is a problem because, see, J.D. Vance is in that debate and he knows all this kind of stuff. This just came out, though, but, you don't have enough time to break that stuff down. So J.D. Vance did a great job. You got to keep it higher level. You got to assume you're talking to people who don't know anything about this stuff. You just jump into this. Like, say I talk to somebody who doesn't know anything about what's happening here, and I say, whoa, look what happened. This is, if you don't know, this is the one where they allegedly Trump was getting golden, water on him. Not exactly water. All those allegations in the dossier. And the Durham probe says the FBI offered Steele $1 million to corroborate what, in my opinion, I think it's fair to have the opinion the FBI knew at this time it wasn't real. FBI and CIA knew it wasn't real. Yet they paid him, allegedly, they knew it wasn't real. That's my allegations, that they paid him $1 million to corroborate it. So basically buying them off to go after Trump, all to save this democracy. Yeah, it kind of makes sense. The kind of democracy you would want to save with this level of corruption would be one where you have a senator who doesn't know how to listen, can't comprehend, has to read off of a literal voice-to-text teleprompter. The FBI, according to this investigation here, paid him off. FBI supervisory and counterintelligence analyst Brian Otten was the first witness in the trial of, I don't know what names I can say, what I can't, so I'm going to be careful there. The Russian national who served as the primary subforce for the Steele's anti-Trump dossier. So this analyst testified, and they were charged with 5 counts of making false statements to the Bureau, or Steele. Otten testified that he and a group of FBI agents went overseas in early October 2021 to speak with Steele about the dossier. During questioning by special counsel Don Durham on Tuesday, Ahn said that during those meetings, FBI offered Steele $1 million if he could corroborate allegations in the dossier. And I think it's clear to say at this point they knew that was. I just always have to be careful because I don't want to just throw stuff out there. But I mean, really, at this point, everybody acknowledges that it was wrong, right? Ahn also said that the FBI had no corroboration of allegations in the dossier. I don't think they ever stated that they did. The media just ran with the story, but nevertheless took that information and inserted it into the foreign intelligence. So this is the problem. They used it in the FISA warrant. They used it as justification to spy on Trump and Carter Page. On October 21st, 2016, that's interesting. I didn't notice that. They're looking at the same. Oh, they said early October 2021. October 21st, 2016. Did you have any information to corroborate that the FISA? No, Oughton said, confirming that the FBI began receiving Steele's reports later on, known as the dossier. And it has been debunked at this point. So maybe I don't need to say, allegedly anymore. Just trying to be safe. And then I talked about extensively the Sussman trial. We did deep dives on that, fairly deep dives. September 2016 was also the day that then Clinton campaign lawyer Michael Sussman brought the white papers to an FBI meeting. So he brought the white papers to Baker, his boy, Baker. They knew each other. They were cool. Sussman got Baker the job at Twitter. Baker knew what was up, pretending like he didn't. Then with FBI General Counsel James Baker alleged the Trump organization was using a secret back channel to communicate with Kremlin-linked Alpha Bank. So maybe that's why Russia collusion's trending on Twitter, is because this is all BS. I haven't spent my normal time perusing Twitter for articles. But there you have it. So if anybody has the take that the FBI should be defunded and defunct and disbanded, there's plenty of judgment for that. You let me know what you think. Check the comments out real quick. School of the World says, watched Dave Rubin on Bill Maher podcast, and the Dems really don't know the Russia stuff was false. I was talking with somebody, and they were saying, we were talking about something about how they were frustrated that people aren't awake. I think they were saying most people are like the zombies, how I've said it before too. But I was like, I think most people are zombies because they just don't know. If they know, then they many of them wake up to a certain extent. They might not become active or anything like that, but they will acknowledge truth and facts. And School of the World, I think you're right. They just don't know. That's why you do have to censor. The last says, my neighbor still thinks Trump was working for Putin, no matter how much I try to convince them. Yeah, it's a hard thing. You can't get them to, they force them to swallow it, the red pill. But that's why J.D. Vance has to be careful in the debate, because my first inclination is to go like very deep when they say, well, do you condone what happened with Donald Trump or whatever? Basically, should he be charged or should he be indicted? All that kind of stuff. I almost want to go straight to like the nitty gritty, but if you're dealing with normies, they're going to get scared. Just can't do it. You've got to be very careful with how you do it. Breaking news. Not so much breaking news. Some of Katie Hobbs supporters are concerned that MAGA firebrand Carrie Lake is outshining her low-key campaign. You think? Maybe just by a little bit, maybe by a smidge. That's a nice way of saying that she's destroying her. It's just absolute destruction. Almost to the point where some of the Dems are like, Carrie Lake's not that bad. Maybe I might need to vote for Carrie Lake. I love these purple states because it's no BS. It's all, everybody has a chance. It's really more about the truth. You can't hide from the truth in these purple races. We're in the home stretch of this high stakes contest for governor. Secretary of State Katie Hobbs has refused to debate her. She didn't want those problems. I don't blame her. That was a smart decision. They call her MAGA firebrand. Like, I don't know if that's supposed to be a negative or not, but this sounds fire. MAGA firebrand Carrie Lake, while also maintaining a low-key campaign schedule and facing being outspent on the airwaves in the closing weeks of the race. So I have to look into the money behind that, because you notice how they worded it. Facing being outspent on the airwaves in the closing weeks of the race. I did not do any prep on this specific question, but does that mean that she didn't outspend her overall and just in the last few seconds this is happening? I'm going to try and see if I can find that. On Ballotpedia, sometimes you can find the how much money is being spent. Let me see if I can find that Carrie Lake ballot. This is a great website, this Ballotpedia. I'll share my screen if I can see it here. Usually they have the campaign funding. I don't know how up to date it would be. I don't see it here. I am curious to see who's spending more money total. As Lake barnstorms the state, some supporters, including Democrats and anti-Lake Republicans, a key constituency. You mean like Democrats? That's why MAGAs are calling them rhinos now? I mean, anti-Lake Republicans are Democrats. Of course, they're a key constituency. Hobbs needs to win over in a state where voter registrations are essentially split into thirds among Democrats, Republicans, Independents. So that's where you see truth come out. They have expressed concern. They're like, things aren't going too well. The polling, they do all these polls to make it seem like it's close. That's why I've been like, I'm looking at the tea leaves. I'm trying to read the tea leaves. This doesn't look close to me, but we'll see. That's just speculation. In interviews, they point to Hobbs' refusal to debate Lake as an unforced error. No, it wasn't. Do you want to get into a cage with the lion? And she's like the most kind, like cute looking, graceful lion. Like she doesn't look like you. Trying to paint Carrie Lake as an extreme is a losing proposition. Tim Ryan had a hard enough time trying to do it with JD Vance. JD Vance did a great job of staying calm. I'm not, and trying to be, soften his positions. I'm not letting Tim Ryan paint me as an extremist. Katie Hobbs has no chance of painting Carrie Lake as an extremist. What did you want her to go into the debate with? What tools? What is she supposed to do? The only way she could go in the debate is to try and flip the positions that she's already had to basically Carrie Lake's positions. There's no way that she could have debated her. None. So now all of a sudden people are like, well, why didn't you debate her? Knowing good and well that that was not going to be a good move. A leading election, well, I don't want to get into that because of YouTube and verbiage, with ammunition to repeatedly attack Hobbs as too weak to serve as governor. Yeah, it kind of rings home. And they're expressing a desire for her to be more of a robust presence on the campaign trail. Is that a nice way of saying that she's in the basement too? That's the new kind of cabal way of running. Just stay in the basement. You wonder as a candidate if you're doing everything you should be doing, said Sandra Kennedy, an elected member of the State Corporation Commission who chaired President Joe Biden's winning 2020 campaign in Arizona. You don't want to wait till the day after the election and think, would I have done it another way? I agree. You don't want to do that. But when you have a losing proposition, sometimes it's better to sit it out. Sometimes it's better not to face the fire of somebody that will completely annihilate you, and not in a mean way. So Katie Hobbs couldn't even go into it kind of like a sacrificial lamb. That's what I think if Fetterman does a debate, he's going to come across as like I'm this feeble, person, and Oz is going to go hard, I think, because Oz doesn't have self-awareness. He's completely terrible. And he might go too hard and make Fetterman a sympathetic figure. So here's Project Veritas. Project Veritas there's a reason why the government wants to get after them. There's a great Nick Rekreda. Go to Project Veritas on YouTube. they did one of my favorite Nick Rekieta segments. He did a segment on the whole diary of a certain daughter and why Project Veritas is being mistreated in the press and by the government. It was excellent. But the reason why they are is they do pieces like this. Let me find it real quick. Carrie Lake just tweeted it like a couple hours ago. The Project Veritas exposing her. Let me see. Okay, right here. So this is going to be a Project Veritas clip where they rolled up. They rolled up on Katie Hobbs.
Oh my God. How's it going? Didn't mean to scare you there.
It starts awkward already. She is very weak. It does seem that way. She doesn't have a presence about her at all. So here we go.
They're now both currently hiding in bathrooms.
Oh my God.
How's it going? Didn't mean to scare you there. R.C. Maxwell, Project Veritas Action. Just wanted to ask you a brief question about statements that you've made. Oh, you just spilled your soda. Are you going to clean that up or just leave that here for the business? I just wanted to ask you about the comments you made on undercover footage regarding having a disdain for discussing politics now. Do you recall that, Secretary Hobbs? You kind of talked about how you don't like to discuss policy, you don't like to debate. Just wanted to know if that is informing your decision.
I'm like, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk politics with anyone who I don't know.
You've been caught on camera discussing your disdain for policy. Secretary, she's going inside of a restroom. She's ran. Secretary Hobbs has ran. She doesn't want to discuss policy with me.
I would love nothing more than the opportunity to have a substantive conversation about that issue.
Spokesperson, do you want to talk about comments Mr. Hobbs have made on camera, undercover camera? Mr. Wolf? Your tenant is currently hiding. You don't own this restaurant. She's currently hiding in that restaurant.
That's my favorite part. We're watching real life. This is a real life episode of Veep. Like, we don't need that. I love the show Veep. My wife put me onto it. This is a real life episode. He's doing this on purpose to be funny, but also professional. He's doing a great job. This dude has been amazing with Project Veritas. He said, oh, by the way, your candidate's hiding in the bathroom. As a populist, if he has questions, you don't spill your soda. I mean, obviously, Katie Hobbs is not that. You just talk to him. It's not hard. You just talk to him. That's what you do. You got nowhere to run. You got nowhere to hide. Are your ideas that bad that you need to spill your soda all over the place and make a mess and you're just walking away with that angry look on your face? What are you angry about, bro? He just got a camera and a mic. Even if you say, you know, I'm just trying to eat right now. I'm not feeling good. Let me give you my card and I'll respond later to you guys. Even if you say something like that, you don't need to be like, they're not prepped for this. You don't think Project Veritas will catch you in the streets? They will. I forget the one in the pandemic video. I wish I had the clip where she waddled away. I think it was a Pfizer executive where he wanted to ask some questions about that thing. And then she was close to her house and she was literally waddling like this away. Project Veritas will catch you up in these streets.
Me?
I would love nothing more than the opportunity to have a substantive conversation about that issue.
Spokesperson, do you want to talk about comments Mr. Hobbs have made on camera, undercover camera? Mr. Wolf? Your tenant is currently hiding. You don't own this restaurant. She's currently hiding in that restroom. You want to talk to me about the statements your candidate has made on camera?
He's a spokesman, isn't he?
He talked about running from a debate. They're now both currently hiding in bathrooms. Mr. Wolf was here to save her. Now he's hiding in a bathroom. Secretary Hobbs he's out of the bathroom. Mr. Wolf is out of the bathroom. We're gonna leave. There's a car right here. Considering your campaign drives around with an AR-15, don't you think rules?
I did not see that. Oh, okay. Whoa. I did not see that. Wow. What's her position on 2A? I got to look that up right now. Whoa. What time is it? I got like 10 minutes. Hold on. Hold on. What is, I don't know where I'm going to find it, but whoa. Twitter, I should probably search Twitter. That's the place, best place. Wow. Katie Hobbs shares outrage on SCOTUS gun decision. Whoa. This is crazy. These people are running. What are they running from? Not threats, not any violence. They're running from questions. So I'm probably going to have to end on this segment. A Democrat with an AR. Yes. So that's fine. If you have, like, Tulsi, has videos of her with firing stuff, and I don't like her 2A position. I think it's too soft. I mean, there's only one 2A position that's acceptable. That's to read the Second Amendment. But let me see here. This is Katie Hobbs. Let's see what she said about 2A. Katie Hobbs shares outrage at SCOTUS gun decision. In response to the Supreme Court's decision to strike down New York's concealed carry gun law, Arizona Secretary of State and gubernatorial candidate Katie Hobbs released the following statement. I have not read this before. Like the majority of Americans, Arizonans, and gun owners who support responsible and reasonable safety measures, I am outraged at today's Supreme Court ruling. As we continue to witness heinous killings across the U.S., including right here in Arizona, leaders continue to refuse to take action, and the Supreme Court's decision makes protecting our communities that much more difficult. As a mom, I share the concern of my fellow parents who are living in fear every day that their child won't come home from school or that their family member won't make it home from the grocery store. We need common sense gun safety reform right now so that we can finally end these senseless acts of violence that are murdering our children, taking innocent lives. So that's pretty neutral on there. So I don't think that's a damning take. But you could tell it seems like it's purposely neutral on it, like to show anger, but to not kind of piss off those in Arizona that would be worried about their Second Amendment right.
Rules for thee, but not for me is problematic for.
Wow. They were rolling with the peace. Well, it's not a peace. Like, that's not a peace. That's beyond a peace.
There's a car right here.
You see how they roll?
Considering your campaign drives.
You see how they roll? Damn, they ready for whatever needs to be done. Think about that. Think about that when these people advocate for taking more and more of the Second Amendment. You wonder why I went from blue pill to pro 2A. I'm all for it. Just don't argue to take it away from other people. Wow, I can't believe he got to see the inside of the car. That was a sloppy. This whole thing here, you got to be ready for this. I don't know who's running their campaign. Any politician, it doesn't matter if you're MAGA or whoever. If you are in the streets, someone can roll up to you with a camera, a cell phone. What's the protocol? How do you respond to it? What's the exit out of it? Because even if you answer questions, maybe you can't stay there and answer questions forever. How do I get to my car without hiding in the bathroom? This is sloppy. Somebody rolled up on her at a Starbucks, and I should have known then. I thought she was just at a Starbucks. She wasn't ready to answer questions from a common person. Project Veritas got it.
We're gonna leave. There's a car right here. Considering your campaign drives around with an AR-15, don't you think rules for thee but not for me is problematic for someone running for state office?
Would Katie support something like an assault weapon?
This is like you try to get away from this is like, horror movies are out right now. You up to Halloween. You try to get away from the big, bad, ugly questions, and you get up to the car door, and you like, damn it, why didn't you open, I locked the back door. It's not open. In her head, as soon as that car pulled off, she's like, that goddamn back door wasn't open.
Considering your campaign drives around with an AR-15, don't you think rules for thee but not for me is problematic for someone running?
Because now you're already irritable because, you get chased around by Project Veritas. And you go to the back door, and you know, if you just go into the, you know, you're going out, you're casual, it's no big deal. Oh, like, could you open the back door? Now you're pissed off and irritable. Right now, she's like, would you, when you roll up for the exit plan, the back door should be open.
For me, is problematic for someone running for state office.
Would Katie support something like an assault weapons ban?
If she could, yeah. I mean, the problem is that's a federal issue, right? There's nothing she could do about it.
Right.
At least immediately, right?
That's the same dude that escorted her out. I'm not a gun person, so I know there's all this debate over the verbiage. I'm not going to be able to comment on that because I don't know much about guns.
Advocating for it publicly, which is really more impactful once you're governor.
The car's locked, Ms. Hobbs. Secretary Hobbs.
That was petty. That was. If you don't know the definition of petty, this was petty. I'm all here for it. He's like, Miss Hobbs, the back door is locked. You know, anything to kind of get a reaction out, I got to be out in a couple minutes. This is golden stuff here. This is legendary stuff here, man.
Impactful once you're governor.
The car's locked, Ms. Hobbs. Secretary Hobbs, ladies and gentlemen, running from a Project Veritas action reporter, doesn't want to discuss.
I want to hear the cars. I want to hear the wheels. I want to see them peel off.
Policy.
I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk politics to anyone who I don't know.
Oh my God! The end of that. I have to see that one more time. I'm gonna be out. I gotta go. I got hard out. Got to do dinner with the fam. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just watching this stuff too much. And somebody else said it was funny. Good, because to me, I'm dying. I'm dying. This stuff is hilarious, man. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I gotta see the end where the door's locked one more time. This is This is instant classic stuff right here. The door's locked, Miss Hobbs.
We're gonna leave.
No, I gotta go back again. Your candidate's in the bathroom. This is literally like an episode of Veep.
They're now both currently hiding in bathrooms. Mr.
He's like, Mr. Wolf, you're. I know. So he's the one. He's supposed to be like the cleanup man, right? So the cleanup man goes in.
Have a substantive conversation about that issue.
So this is the spokesperson. He got, he's supposed to be the cleanup man. So he's coming in to clean everything up.
You want to talk about comments Ms. Hobbs have made on camera, undercover camera, Mr. Wolf? Your candidate's currently hiding. You don't own this restaurant. She's currently.
Oh wow, I forget the name of the dude, but he was like, you don't own this. He had to get a little like, hold up now. I like that. He's like, you don't own this restaurant, sir. And by the way, your candidate's in the bathroom.
Currently hiding. You don't own this restaurant. She's currently hiding in that restroom. You want to talk to me about the statements your candidate has made on camera?
He's a spokesman, isn't he?
He talked about running from a debate. They're now both currently hiding in bathrooms. Mr. Wolf was here to save her. Now he's hiding in a bathroom. Secretary Hobbs he's out of the bathroom. Mr. Wolf is out of the bathroom. We're gonna leave. There's a car right here.
We're gonna be in the gulags laughing about this one, man. I think ultimately I'm white pill, but we could be in the gulags in like 5 to 10 years. Just like, remember that time? That's gonna be hilarious.
Considering your campaign drives around with an AR-15,
Damn.
don't you think rules for thee but not for me is problematic for someone running for state office?
Would Katie support something like an assault weapons ban?
If she could, yeah. I mean, the problem is that's a federal issue, right? There's nothing she could do about it.
Right.
At least immediately, right? Instead of kind of advocating for it publicly, which is really more impactful once you're governor.
The car's locked, Ms. Hobbs. Secretary Hobbs, ladies and gentlemen, running from.
I'm out, man. I can't do this anymore with y'all. Peace.